As you continue to practice presence, you will inevitably begin to strengthen your intuition and receive creative ideas that seem to come out of absolutely nowhere. This can be a blessing and likewise can feel like a curse sometimes. It depends on perspective and what your goals may be. Practicing presence is typically the means and the goal in and of itself. In other words, the calmness, peace, and serenity in body and mind are sufficient reward enough. However, creative ideas do tend to be a byproduct of practicing stillness. My suggestion is that you set a time that you intend to practice silence and try not to allow anything to interrupt that time. Start with something that is comfortable for you, and with practice, gradually increase the length of time. For a beginner, 15 minutes may seem like an eternity, but try to set that as a goal. In time, you'll be able to increase it to 30, 45, 60 minutes, or even longer. You can choose to call this meditation, yoga, or simply being alone, ideally without thoughts. But in the beginning, they will certainly be there with you. Like I said, your thoughts will be difficult to suppress, so there's no need to worry about ideas coming to you. Most of the thoughts that enter your mind will be like static coming from a radio station that isn't quite properly tuned. These are essentially just junk thoughts that may be in your mind, like lunch, bills, errands you're supposed to run, something a boss or coworker may have said to you, etc. But as you are able to maintain some inner calmness, it'll be like tuning in and hitting that just right frequency of your favorite music station. You'll have a thought or two that seems to stand out from the rest. It may be you remember where you placed an item that may have been missing for a while. You may realize a clear solution on how to fix something around the house that may have been troubling you. You may just intuitively connect a body ailment with something that you've been eating or doing and realize how to remedy that. You may have a creative idea about how to fix something or do something more efficiently at work, an event for the family to do on the weekends, or an artistic song or painting. A lot of what you will receive will depend on your personality, your character, and your karmic past that has brought you to where you are now. Try not to get too consumed in the thought right at the moment, but let it float past, and when you've reached the amount of time that you've committed to yourself, then simply have a pen and paper nearby so you can jot your ideas down. The more often you practice calmness and stillness, the more profound and creative your ideas will become in time. Not only will creative ideas manifest during your quiet time, but you'll continue to carry along your inner calmness with you throughout the day. And along with this, you'll have creative ideas that come as a result of something you may see on TV, hear on the radio, something a friend says, or simply something you observe in such a way that you never noticed before. Now, a good friend of mine who's a very business-oriented person believes he doesn't have a creative bone in his body. This is only because he has a perception of what creative people are supposed to look like. He thinks that creative people are supposed to be eccentric, wear outlandish clothing, and act like hippies or tree huggers or something. The truth is, we are all creative in our own ways. He happens to be creative in business. He is successful at what he does and enjoys the challenge of selling items to people. When a particular strategy he attempts doesn't work, he then has to go back and figure out what he may have said right or wrong. Review his presentation, work on his energy and tone, his inflection, and strengthen his conviction. These are all creative processes. Additionally, he enjoys wearing professional-looking clothing, so even his attire selection requires a degree of creativity. He has to select suits that coordinate with the shoes, ties, shirts, and handkerchiefs, or however formal he may want to go. The key is that to channel that creativity into other areas that he is equally passionate about. This is important. Don't try to become something that you are not a natural fit for. In the beginning, you should only try to incorporate creative aspects that are not too far of a stretch from who you are already. In time, you'll be able to stretch out farther, but if you totally uproot everything that you've been for a lifetime, you'll most likely go through some shell shock with a complete transformation. I'm not saying that this can't be done, but depending on your circumstances, that may not be the best way to steer the ship in a new direction. I have a 4-year-old son. I was teaching to ride his bike with training wheels. Well, first of all, he's never crashed before, so he had this fearless attitude of riding his bicycle. He was attempting to go down these steep hills at full speed. He didn't even know how to apply his brakes. I had to stay close by to him to help him to be able to stop. I was trying to figure out how I can get him to realize he cannot go that fast on his own when I'm not around without him having to literally crash to learn from experience that you can get hurt. Also, if he wanted to turn his bike in another direction, he would simply do so by turning the handlebars at a 90-degree angle. Of course, if you do this, then you're going to cause the bike to flip over. Like driving a car, it typically only takes a small change in the wheel to completely change your direction. This should be your approach towards incorporating new creative ideas into your life. Decide which creative ideas are worth pursuing and gradually begin to bring them into action. You'll find in time that every creative idea isn't worth pursuing, but some seem to truly resonate with you more greatly. These are the creative ideas you want to make an increased part of who you are. As I stated earlier, no one truly ever has an original idea. All ideas of science, physics, and nature already exist. It's just a matter of who will be first to unravel a mystery or crack the code for a solution to a problem. This is evidenced in the fact that people on opposite sides of the globe could be feverishly working towards the solution to an issue that plagues the world. I, for one, used to do music production. I would have an epiphany in the middle of the night or come up with what I believed to be a unique idea. Yet before I could put all the pieces together to bring that song into fruition, I might turn on the radio and hear a song that is almost the splitting image of the idea I was working on. Likewise, I can't count the times that I did successfully create a song and share with friends or even send out demos to later on hear a song strangely familiar being played in the club. Of course, it would be almost impossible to prove that someone actually took my idea, so I had no choice but to accept the fact that other people's songs was the one that was meant to become popular. Part of nurturing the creative process is to be able to accept ahead of time the notion that what is right for you will fall into place at the right time and will bring about the greatest benefit for all. I leave you with this spiritual practice. Through presence, my intuitive understanding increases, leading me to creative pursuits. This is Lateef Warnick, the Alphamist. Peace.